Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my personal space where I talk about my love for Star Wars. Today I want to do a game review. We're going to look at the Han Solo card game. Now, Han Solo card game, at first you'd think, well, that's sabacc, right? That's sabacc. Why didn't they just call it sabacc? Yeah, they couldn't call it sabacc because there was this weird lawsuit going on between LucasArts and this like app company. And so it's just called the Han Solo card game. And it's really not actually the sabacc that maybe you've read about in the Legends books. This is kind of an original game that Hasbro put out. And it's for 2 to 4 players, 10 and over. Now, I made a video a while back about board games, card games, things like that, Star Wars games I had. I didn't have the Han Solo card game at the time. I was talking about taking a game with me to Celebration to play with my son while we were in line. While we waited for things, I actually took this. I took sabacc, put it in my backpack. It was really easy to carry. This is a great small game that transports well. It's a small deck of cards, 2 dice, and just a stack of little cardboard chips. I was able to place them all in the front pocket of my backpack. And yeah, it's a great camping game, great beach card game, and it's a Star Wars game. And the best thing is, this game has been around for a little while now. You probably can find some places that have reduced it in price, and you can get this at a much lower cost. Okay, so you buy it, you order it, comes to you in the mail. What are you going to get? Inside, you're going to get 62 cards. They say Star Wars on them, and they have really beautiful graphics. The faces of the cards look like they've been worn and aged. You're going to get 24 bounty hunter tokens. I call them credits because, you know, Star Wars calls them credits. And you get 2 dice. Now, interesting thing about the dice is, you know, in the first film, Han Solo has dice hanging from his, we'll call it rearview mirror, right? And it's kind of like a nod to American Graffiti, directed by George Lucas, and it was just kind of like a nod to like American Graffiti and how they had worked together before. But the lore behind it became that those were the dice that Han Solo won the Millennium Falcon with playing a game of sabacc with Lando Calrissian. However, the Solo movie kind of dispelled that rumor, because in the movie, Han has the dice at the very beginning of the movie, before the Millennium Falcon or Lando ever even enter the picture. Plus, when you watch them play sabacc, they don't use dice. So it kind of makes you go, well, what are the dice then? The cool thing about what Hasbro has done is they've combined the cards that we're familiar with the dice we're familiar with, and they've put the gameplay together, and that's what I like. So to set up, it's really simple. You shuffle all the credits and you place them on the table face down in a little pile, and you dole out 1 credit per player. So if there's 3 players, then you turn face up 3 credits, and that's the pot. That's what you're playing for. And winner gets the most expensive thing, and subsequently on down. Then each player is dealt 2 cards, and then the rest of the deck is placed in the middle as a draw pile, and 1 card, the top card, is flipped face up to begin the discard pile. Now, you can decide however you want who goes first. You can go clockwise, counterclockwise, youngest to oldest, whatever. And then on your turn, you have 1 of 3 choices. You can draw and discard, you can draw and not discard, or you can pass. So the only thing you can't do is just discard on your turn, because you're always going to have at least 2 cards in your hand. Now, once you have the cards in your hand, you're going to notice that you have red cards and green cards. And you can think of this as positive and negative. Green cards are positive, red cards are negative, and the one subtracts from the other. What you want to do every single round is total 0. So if you have a positive 6 in your hand and a negative 6, that equals 0. Or if you have 2 positive 3s and a negative 6, that also equals 0. Now, of course, you're not going to hit 0 on every single turn, and so you want to get as close to 0 as possible, either by drawing cards or discarding cards. Hands that beat other hands, let's say you hit 0 with 3 cards and your opponent hit 0 with 2 cards. The person who hits 0 with the most cards wins, and that brings us to the 0 cards. There's 2 cards in the deck that total 0, and all they do is add a number count to your hand. So there's really no reason you should ever pass on a turn. I don't know why anyone would ever pass, because there's always the opportunity that when you draw a card, you could get that 0 card and add it to your hand, and that will help you win the game. So everyone goes around with 1 turn, either drawing, discarding, or passing. And then at the end of that first round, you take the dice, roll them to the table, and here's how the dice work. If the dice don't match, in other words, if the 2 things that's side up, the symbols, if they don't match, then you play a second round. If they do match, then everyone discards the cards that are in their hands, and the dealer re-deals them their hand. So if one player had 2 cards and one player had 3 cards, those 5 cards are discarded, and then you are re-dealt 2 cards and 3 cards. So the game is dealt in 3 rounds. Everyone takes a turn, dice is rolled. Everyone takes a second turn, dice is rolled. Everyone takes a third turn, dice is rolled. And at the end of the third roll, everyone reveals. The way to determine the winner is the person closest to 0 wins. Like I said, if you can have 5 cards in your hand, that's going to beat a card that has 4 cards in their hand or less. And a positive 1 will always beat a negative 1. There's a lot of fun in this game, a lot of strategy. My kids play it, my wife plays it. We love the Han Solo card game. And if you watch my other video where I show the other Star Wars card games and board games I have, if you'd like me to review one of those, mention that in the comment section below, and maybe that will be my next game review. Thanks for watching, guys. May the Force be with you. I'll see you next time. Bye.